All right, folks, Christmas came a day early this morning. It is Christmas Eve, but we got a great present, and that is the following. Lady Mina's official rework, her official buff, let's call it what it is. It is a major buff. It has arrived. The devs hard confirmed it this morning and announced it on the Forerunner server. I've taken all that information and put it into a document that I hope is easy for me to present and easy for you guys to understand. I also want to give you some background info because buffing Lady Mina and reworking the half-baked kit I believe she was originally equipped with is a drum I was beating for a very long time. You can see how many videos I've put out on Lady Mina. I think my magnum opus on bitching and whining about Mina was probably this video over here. Let me pop that open for you guys, and you can see in this video, for 38 minutes, I basically presented a 23-page PowerPoint document on Google Sheets, going through every single issue I had with her. And in it, I made many, many suggestions. And I held off on summoning for Mina for a very long time. I didn't summon for her until the last day of the Dracula event. I waited until the developers confirmed that they would be buffing her. And you can see that was actually, the video I just showed you, that was my most viewed Mina video. The second most viewed with just over 22,000 views was this over here, announcing the confirmation of her buff. Now, while I think the developers messed up not buffing her before the event ended, I think that probably was really annoying for a lot of players. It will end up being a blessing in disguise because without a doubt, they're going to rerun her now, I would think sooner rather than later. And because they took the extra time, the buff is actually very, very good. And I'm very excited.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
I went back and forth with the developers for weeks, and you can see here this screenshot I got from our dev contact on December the 12th, 4 a.m. my time. She said, hey, Fasti, we'd like to share an early plan of the upcoming Lady Mina balance buffs. The details below are strictly confidential. So that's why I'm only including this, but I think now that they've announced the official buff, I can at least talk about it. It was like a huge thing. It was like 4 messages, hundreds of words, where they basically wrote out an entire hypothetical rework. Some of the language was different than what you're used to seeing because they hadn't yet applied their language regionalization, so some words were a little off, but it was pretty clear what they articulated, so I responded a couple days later with the following. You can see 2 days later in the evening on December 14th, I shared my thoughts. So the first thing I did here, and I do think I'm allowed to share this directly. That's why I'm doing it. This is just my creation, right? These are my thoughts. This is my response. I said, Lady Mina rework my thoughts. The first thing I did was just summarize everything they talked about because, like I said, the language was a little different and it wasn't clear what was getting changed and what wasn't getting changed. In the document I'm about to present to you guys, this will be very clear. I've made it very clear, I hope, and pretty concise, I also hope. So you can see, I was just recapping. Okay, so the basic attack, it's now going to be piercing damage. Instead of 100% magic damage, it's 70% piercing damage. But essentially, and a huge thing I talked about in many of my videos, the multi-target was added to the basic attack as a baseline. Previously, this was gated behind the A3, that she would start targeting 3 units instead of 1 with the basic. In their original pitch, they pushed her up to 3. The talent was unchanged. The ultimate got 2 seconds longer duration, with skill ups going from 6, 8 to 10 seconds. Now it's 8, 10 to 12 seconds. The passive was unchanged. The passive ultimate stat share, the second passive, this was unchanged. With the awakenings, Awakening 1, 2, 4, and 5 were unchanged. Awakening 3 no longer had the multi-target tied into it, since that was part of the kit now. But they added that outside of the ultimate, Mina and the highest attack ally would deal increased damage to Blood Sigil enemies, plus 12% increased damage. The bond skills were unchanged. And then finally, the exclusive artifact seemingly was having the cooldown on the Rage Restoration removed. So I checked through all of that. It was confirmed after this that I was right on all those things, and then I gave my thoughts. Now, the reason I'm getting so in the weeds here and sharing all this with you is because I'm very proud of what I did, but more importantly, I'm very impressed and proud. I'm very impressed by and very proud of the developers because they absolutely listened. You'll see, I was pretty laudatory. I was praising them. I was like, you actually are doing it. You're listening. Thank you. But I make one big final suggestion. I touch on a couple things, but I make one big final suggestion. And actually, when I present the final rework now, you'll see they 100% listen to it. So let's get into it now. I said I've bolded the changes. By my count, there are 4. Let me respond to them one by one. Basic attack change, making her basic move a 3-target move and multi-target as a default, as opposed to something gated behind the A3, is huge. And I said this is the best change and the most important thing I wanted to see to be done. You can watch my old videos. I thought this was essential. That's amazing. I also talked about that they could make the ultimate a bit stronger or make it last longer. And as you can see, they did that here. They've increased the duration by 2 seconds. The base duration goes from 6 seconds to 8 seconds. The max skill duration goes from 10 seconds to 12 seconds. I thought this was an awesome change. I said another strong change. Well done. The Awaken 3, I said now that the 3-target basic is not gated behind this Awakening, it already is an improvement. Additionally, the damage boost outside of the ultimate that Mina and the highest attack ally are receiving, that's very solid. I was impressed by this. Now, the exclusive artifact, I had a whole section on this in my ranting and raving PowerPoint video. I said this should not have a cooldown, holy crap, and I was very impressed that they got rid of the cooldown. I said second best change, really happy to see this one. Previously, it was a 5-second cooldown on the rage regen from each one of her basics. Now it's been removed, so she can always be generating more rage. But now it's built into her exclusive. Very, very good. Now I said my key thoughts, and I've got my overall conclusion and then a final note and piece of advice. And it does seem from our talks, they're going to take this advice. So I'm excited about that as well. I said my key thoughts, all 4 changes are strong. In particular, the changes to the basic attack target count and the removal of the rage regen cooldown from the artifact effect are truly great. They will really elevate her. These were also 2 of my 3 key suggestions I made in my video reviewing her problems. I then want to point out the 3rd suggestion. The 3rd one you missed, didn't include in the rework, was changing the talent. I believe you should make the Blood Sigil max duration 5 seconds, not 3 seconds, right? Because she's cycling effectively with a good build. She's cycling through her enhanced basic attacks about every 5 seconds. So that should be the Blood Sigil duration. I said that is the only additional change I would suggest. Overall, I feel like you've made strong changes that improve her, but also feel balanced. Well done. I am impressed by this. Now, very important, I said final note advice. I would strongly urge you to rerun her as a 1 or 2 day banner right after the rework goes live. This should happen in several weeks, right after it goes live in game. So people who didn't pull for her because they were waiting for the buff to come before the banner event ended can now have a chance. I think this would be an excellent idea and would make the community quite happy instead of enraged, which is what will happen otherwise. And they were receptive to that as well. I'm just so impressed. So like the one thing they didn't include in their original changes was the lengthened duration of the Blood Sigil out of the most important things I thought they needed to do. And now as we go to the official presentation, you'll see that has been added as well. So here you go, guys. We're almost done, believe it or not. The Lady Mina Eternal Bride official buff. It's a developer rework, but effectively, it's a buff, baby. They're really elevating her in the right way. She's not going to be broken, but she's going to be legitimately good now. As of this moment, pre-buff, I sincerely think she is the worst limited we've ever had. These 5 changes now are all it took to take her to excellent quality. I don't think she's going to be OP goated in that top tier class, but she is going to be usable. She's going to be relevant. She's going to be a unit everyone's happy they pulled for. Or for the people that didn't pull for her, a unit everyone's going to be really happy they're going to get another chance to pull for, and you're going to get to go get her. It's just huge. It's awesome. So the first change, the basic attack. Previously, this was a single target attack without any awakenings, whatever, just as a baseline, a single target attack that dealt 100% magic damage. Dealing magic damage makes no sense. The only relevant content she's being used in right now is physical damage content. She is a piercing damage dealing unit. When she ults, she does physical piercing damage. So now they've changed it so that her basic attack is dealing physical piercing damage. 70%, not 100%, but we don't mind it being a little weaker because it's no longer single target. You don't need her A3 for it to be multi-target. As a baseline, she is hitting 3 enemy targets. That is huge. Next up, the talent has been adjusted. Previously, her basic attacks could inflict Blood Sigil for 2.5 seconds and a 50% slow on targets. Also, every 5 basic attacks can trigger enhanced basic attacks. Those will deal 100% AoE magic damage to up to 5 enemies, and it would inflict them with Blood Sigil as well for 2.5 seconds, also the 50% slow. Now, after the adjustment, basic attacks, and remember, she's hitting more units with those basic attacks because she's going to hit 3 targets instead of 1. That's so important. They're going to inflict Blood Sigil for 5 seconds, perfect for rotating every 5 basic attacks with putting out everything you need from the enhanced basic attacks. So the Blood Sigil lasts 5 seconds. We still have the 50% slow. That's going to be for 3 seconds. And then we have the enhanced basic attacks. They can be triggered every 5 basic attacks. You're going to hit the 5 targets. It's now 100% AoE piercing damage, not magic damage. Much better. And it's also going to inflict the 5-second Blood Sigil, not the 2.5-second Blood Sigil. And you can see we're getting the slow for 3 seconds as well. That was pretty standard. Very good. Next up, we have the ultimate. And this is great. It's simple. I'm going to pop up in the game just so you can see her if you're unfamiliar with the ultimate. When she's ulting, continuously she inflicts Blood Sigil and Immobilized State. So Blood Sigil, her signature debuff, Immobilized State, a very good crowd control effect. She can hit up to 10 enemies. She's also going to transform, like out of the mirror. She's going to transform into this Phantom Dracula, and she deals 220% piercing physical damage 1 time to up to 5 targets every 2 seconds. Previously, the ultimate started at 6 seconds and went up to 10 seconds. Now it's going to start at 8 seconds and go up to 12 seconds. Because she's dealing damage every 2 seconds, the extra 2 seconds in duration doesn't just increase the uptime on the Blood Sigil and the Immobilized State from the ultimate, it also is increasing the amount of damage she can deal, because that's a whole extra hit. Another very important thing to note is during the ultimate, and that's when she gets the damage boost, as well as the ally with the highest attack is getting the damage boost to enemies under Blood Sigil. So this period where they have increased damage and Mina has a largely increased attack stat, this is longer now. It's 2 seconds longer. So it's all just better. It's better for her. It's better for the ally with the highest attack. Those 2 seconds are nothing to sneeze at. Very strong stuff. Next up, we have the Awakening 3. All the other 4 awakenings were unchanged, but the 3rd awakening, A3, previously was the following. It was at this point she earned the ability to hit 3 targets with her basic. Now that's just part of her kit as a baseline. So that's gone because you already get it. The next part was when a basic attack deals damage to enemies inflicted with Blood Sigil, it restores HP equal to 2% of her max HP. So we're going to have higher uptime on Blood Sigil, so she's going to be able to heal herself more now because that last part from before stays the same here. That's now the first part of the after, but then there's a whole new effect since they got rid of this. Now, when she's not ulting, so outside of the ult, she is getting a damage boost of 12%, as is the allied hero with the highest attack. To any targets inflicted with Blood Sigil, they're getting a damage increase of 12%. And Lady Mina will put out a lot more Blood Sigil because she's hitting multi-target all the time now, and because Blood Sigil lasts longer. It's lasting twice as long. It's huge. Finally, we've got the exclusive artifact. This is the second best change after the change to the basic. This is phenomenal. Previously, it was this. Upon the death of an enemy inflicted with Blood Sigil, it would restore her rage by 2%. There was a cooldown that this could only be triggered 1 time every 5 seconds. So the idea that this would line up and be significant and be helpful just wasn't reliable. It wasn't really something you could count on. Now it's going to be her enhanced basic attacks always restore her rage by 2%. So a good build, this should be happening every 4.5 to 5 seconds. So she's getting another % rage every 2.5 seconds, 2.3 to 2.5 seconds. That's just like an extra little rage regen that she gives herself on top of everything else. It's not broken, it's not crazy, but it's so reliable and it's very good as long as she has something to hit. So in content like Matrix, it will cycle a lot more consistently. Another thing just with the document, this isn't a change after that she gets the attack boost. That was also part of it before. The main thing is you don't have to rely on the death of an enemy inflicted with Blood Sigil. You don't have to deal with a cooldown. Now it's just every enhanced basic, you are good to go. So, if you can't tell, I'm really happy with what they've done here. I'll definitely make a guide after her rework, and I'm looking forward to hearing about when they're going to rerun her banner. I'll keep you guys posted on that. As soon as I know anything, I will share it with you. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Fastidious. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, share it with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.